Okay, another quick update. Again, turbo is all in and happy, but I had a sort of issue with the this charge air pipe. The way the turbo was previously sort of arranged, this bit of angle pipe I was able to use, or this section I was able to use, but as you can kind of sort of see, it doesn't really line up quite right with the outlet of the compressor, so I had to make a new one. This bit of pipe is also kind of important because I used it to mount the blow-off valve flange onto. Well, that actually does look pretty good on the inside. And so basically the way that it was set up was the blow-off valve is sort of hanging down, sort of down in this position here, which is basically close to everything else. Got a new pipe. I put some new instead of having welding on a couple of cylindrical bosses to tap into for various reasons. So my boost gauge, the boost controller, and exhaust cutout dump. Anyway, couple of things I need a boost source from. So, and I just took like a 1/4-inch plate of aluminum and sort of smacked it with a hammer and bent it into shape and welded it on there, drilled it, tapped it. And then put a new flange on for the blow-off valve. That weld actually isn't too bad. It doesn't look exactly beautiful, but for a fucking hack like me, it's not too bad. Anyway, so this guy goes out, and now this guy will fit in. Well, it doesn't show it now, but if I just do this, and now it's in there. But yeah, so if I push it that way, it'll touch, but it's not rubbing on anything badly. So that's in there. Now you can see the blow-off valve is tucked way down, upside down there. It's kind of the only place I mean, that's where it was before, but that's the only place that I figured it was easiest to put it if I was gonna keep the filter here, which I am. Okay, check this out. So everything's all back together. I took the car for a drive, and it started out pretty clear, then it started to smoke pretty bad. Then I drove it pretty hard, got it nice and hot. Looked like everything had sort of burned off because there was a lot of residual oil in the exhaust system, and drove it pretty hard. I feel like it burned it all off. I mean, it was still kind of oily, burny, smelly, but got back home, let it sit. It sat and ran, idled for 2, 3, 5 minutes maybe. No problem. Then after 5 minutes, it started spewing tons of smoke out of the exhaust. Let it sit for 10 or 20 minutes. Started it up, drove it hard again. It was running pretty clear. So it looks like I still got issues. Although it appears a little bit better, it looks like I still got issues with oil leaking into the turbine housing. So what I have just done, I took off the drain line from underneath the turbo, so I'm thinking it's something to do with this drain line. Took off the drain line, so I blew into this drain line, right, to feel like, because my thought is, well, like, it's partially clogged or whatever, and that's why it's taken something like 30 minutes or so for that to basically back up into the turbo and then start to leak out of the seal. So what happened was I felt some resistance, and then some resistance let go as soon as I blew into that thing. So I think I know what's going on. Okay, correction. So as I blew into that hose and assumed that there was some relief of debris. What I think now is there was just oil hanging out in that line, and I just blew it out into the pan, and that makes a lot more sense. Then I became curious. Of course, I had initially removed this cap because I knew that that would allow me to blow into it freely and have the ability to sense if my breath is easily able to pass through this line. And then when I put it back on, I tried blowing again, and of course there's a lot more resistance. And then it sort of occurred to me that actually maybe that's the problem, right? Is that the crankcase is not able to breathe, and so there's a lot of pressure in this line preventing oil from flowing through it. Now you can see this is basically just it's a hose attached to the breather vent, breather whatever, on the crankcase. It's just some ugly surgical tubing, but it's silicon, so it can tolerate some fairly high temperatures. And I have that run into a catch can, and if you look where that is, it's kinked. It's kinked pretty bad. I had noticed it before, but it never really occurred to me. I figured if there's enough pressure coming through that line, it'll just sort of unkink itself and get into that catch can. But now I'm thinking that's a significant contributor of my problem. So I'm going to fix that. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to fix it, but I'm going to fix that and see if that helps. I think it'll change the oil in the process just because it's just a good thing to do. But I think I'm going to try that before I start fucking with the drain and trying to reconfigure the drain line. I'm going to try that first. Open up this engine and let it breathe. Maybe I'll just cut this open and just let it breathe open. Yeah, cool.